Welcome back. If you are typing along with me, make sure you have the following setup. You should have Python version 3 and virtual environment in your computer. Install Flask version 0.12 inside the virtual environment. And create a main project folder. Inside that, create static and templates folders along with a Python file. You can name the Python file anything you like. So previously, we have seen a simple routing example. In this lesson, we'll see more examples to understand routing in Flask. And we are also going to learn about the request object. Flask allows us to define more than one route per function. I have added a new route to our existing program called index. The server is already running, and when we visit the home page, this displays the message Hello Flask as before. Now, the route localhost 5000/index also displays the same message because we are pointing the index route to the same old Hello Flask function. We'll see more use cases as to why we need multiple routes for the same function. For now, just understand that Flask offers this flexibility. Let's move on to the next example. If you recall our previous lesson, we have seen this example URL abc.com/?greeting is equal to hello. The part after the / is called a query string. This query string is nothing but the GET request submitted by the users as we discussed. And we have also learned that the GET parameters are included within the URL as you can see in this example. Query strings allow users to pass their own values, and they generally come in key-value pairs. For example, users can pass custom value for the key greeting, which could be hello or bonjour. Let's explore this concept using an example. Here I have a route called /new and a function called query_string below the route. Within this function, I define a variable called query_val and I assign something called request.args to it. And at the end, I am simply returning the variable query_val inside a heading tag. And the output is formatted using the Python's format function. Let's now see what this request object is. A request object can be referred to as a context variable, and this variable holds the details of the GET request sent by the users to our application. Apart from this, request object also contains other information, and we'll talk about this and also about the context variables in the later lessons. And a request object is essentially a Python dictionary that holds information submitted by the users in the form of key-value pairs. Let me explain this using a simple Python example. Let's say I have a simple dictionary that has a key and a value. Key is the greeting and value is hello. If you see the type of this object, it's obviously a dictionary. And I can get to the values of this dictionary by using the dictionary.get notation and then pass the key, which is greeting. This gives us the corresponding value hello. Back in our example, this is what we are exactly doing. As the request object holds information sent by the users in the form of key-value pairs, we are trying to extract the values using the dictionary method get so that the value can be used in our application or printed onto the browser. Let's see how this works in our example. The server is already running and I can simply type the route localhost 5000/new, which is the path that we just created. And we get a none value. This is because the user, in this case it's me, did not pass any value to the key greeting. So there won't be a query string if the user doesn't pass any value. Now let me pass a value to the greeting, and I can do this by typing a question mark after the route or /, then the key and any value I like. When we hit enter, we can now see the value I passed to the query string in the browser because we now have a query string. In this example, we are simply extracting values of the GET request submitted by the user from the query string and storing the value in a variable called query_val, and we are finally displaying the value of the variable in the browser. So this is how query strings or GET requests work. I hope now you understand what a request object is. And as I said, request object is not just for query strings. We'll see more examples of the request object as we progress. Now let's improve this program by dealing with the none value. To fix this, we can pass a default value as a parameter to our function so that if the user doesn't enter any value, then the default value is displayed. Let's say greeting is equal to hello. And then we also need to pass this default value to the request.args dictionary as well. So if the value is none, meaning if the user doesn't enter any value, then the default value is displayed. Let's try this again. And this time I'm not passing any value to the query string. And there we see our default value. Query strings are useful as they capture the data entered by the users. But sometimes they may seem a little old-fashioned or even a bit odd with all the question marks and symbols. Flask provides an elegant way of dealing with query strings. In our next example, I have two routes for a function called noQueryStrings. The first route is /user and the second one is /user and a variable called name inside angular brackets. So anything within the angular brackets serves as a variable. And using the function, I am simply returning a string called hello there. One important thing here is that when we use variables in the routes using these angular brackets, we also need to pass these variables into the function definition without fail. Otherwise, our program will not run. And as you can see, I passed the name variable into the function. And additionally, I also assigned a default value called Meena to it. Let's now visit the first route. And there we see the name Meena, which is the default value. For the second route, let's enter our own custom value for the variable name that we defined in the angular brackets. And this time it displays the value we entered and not the default value. Also, if you noticed, there are no query strings. So instead of using query strings, we are handling the GET request in a much more elegant way, and therefore the URLs look a lot simpler and cleaner. Alright, that's it for now. Take a break. We'll continue with routes in the next lesson.